Hello and welcome back to my blog, part 3 of Troward, chapter 2, the first part of chapter 2, the self-contemplation of spirit. If we ask how the cosmos came into existence, we shall find that ultimately we can only attribute it to the self-contemplation of spirit. Let us start with the facts now known to modern physical science. All material things, including our own bodies, are composed of combinations of different chemical elements such as carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, etc. Chemistry recognizes in all about 70 of these elements, each with its peculiar affinities. But the more advanced physical science of the present day finds that they all are composed of one and the same ultimate substance, to which the name of ether has been given, and that the difference between an atom of iron and an atom of oxygen results only from the difference in the number of etheric particles of which each is composed, and the rate of their motion within the sphere of the atom. Thus, curiously coming back to the dictum of Pythagoras that the universe has its origin in number and motion. We may therefore say that our entire solar system, together with every sort of material substance which it contains, is made up of nothing but this one primary substance in various degrees of condensation. Now, the next step is to realize that this ether is everywhere. This is shown by the undulatory theory of light. Light is not a substance, but it is the effect produced on the eye by the impinging of the ripples of the ether upon the retina. These waves are excessively minute, ranging in length from 1/39,000th of an inch at the red end of the spectrum to 1/57,000th at the violet end. Next, remember that these waves are not composed of advancing particles of the medium, but pass onwards by the push which each particle in the line of motion gives to the particle next to it. And then you will see that if there were a break of 1/50,000th part of an inch in the connecting ether between our eye and any source of light, we could not receive light from that source, for there would be nothing to continue the wave motion across the gap. Consequently, as soon as we see light from any source, however distant, we know that there must be a continuous body of ether between us and it. Now, astronomy shows us that we receive light from heavenly bodies so distant that, though it travels with the incredible speed of 186,000 miles per second, it takes more than 2,000 years to reach us from some of them. And as such, stars are in all quarters of the heavens. We can only come to the conclusion that the primary substance or ether must be universally present. This means that the raw material for the formation of solar systems is universally distributed throughout space. Yet though we find that millions of suns stud the heavens, we also find vast interstellar spaces which show no sign of cosmic activity. Then something has been at work to start cosmic activity in certain areas while passing over others in which the raw material is equally available. What is this something? At first, we might be inclined to attribute the development of cosmic energy to the etheric particles themselves, but a little consideration will show us that this is mathematically impossible in a medium which is equally distributed throughout space, for all its particles are in equilibrium, and so no one particle possesses per se a greater power of originating motion than any other. Consequently, the initial movement must be started by something which, though it works on and through the particles of the primary substance, is not those particles themselves. It is this something which we mean when we speak of spirit. Then, since spirit starts the condensation of the primary substance into concrete aggregation, and also does this in certain areas to the exclusion of others, we cannot avoid attributing to spirit the power of selection and of taking an initiative on its own account. Here, then, we find the initial polarity of universal spirit and universal substance, each being the complementary of the other. And out of this relation, all subsequent evolution proceeds. Being complementary means that each supplies what is wanting in the other, and that the two together thus make complete wholeness. Now, this is just the case here. Spirit supplies selection and motion. Substance supplies something from which selection can be made and to which motion can be imparted, so that it is a sine qua non, my Latin isn't the best, for the expression of spirit. Then comes the question, how did the universal substance get there? It cannot have made itself, for its only quality is inertia. Therefore, it must have come from some source having power to project it by some mode of action not of a material nature. Now, the only mode of action not of a material nature is thought, and therefore to thought we must look for the origin of substance. This places us at a point antecedent to the existence even of primary substance, and consequently the initial action must be that of the originating mind upon itself, in other words, self-contemplation. At this primordial stage, neither time nor space can be recognized, for both imply measurement of successive intervals. And in the primary movement of mind upon itself, the only consciousness must be that of present absolute being, because no external points exist from which to measure extension either in time or space. Hence, we must eliminate the ideas of time and space from our conception of spirit's initial self-contemplation. This being so, spirit's primary contemplation of itself as simply being necessarily makes its presence universal and eternal, and consequently, paradoxical as it may seem, its independence of time and space makes it present throughout all time and space. It is the old esoteric maxim that the point expands to infinitude, and that infinitude is concentrated in the point. We start then with spirit contemplating itself as being. But to realize your being, you must have consciousness, and consciousness can only come by the recognition of your relation to something else. The something else may be an external fact or a mental image, but even in the latter case, to conceive the image at all, you must mentally stand back from it and look at it, something like the man who was run in by the police at Gravesend for walking behind himself to see how his new coat fitted. It stands thus. If you are not conscious of something, you are conscious of nothing. And if you are conscious of nothing, then you are unconscious. So that to be conscious at all, you must have something to be conscious of. This may seem like an extract from Paddy's philosophy, but it makes it clear that consciousness can only be attained by the recognition of something, which is not the recognizing ego itself. In other words, consciousness is the realization of some particular sort of relation between the cognizing subject and the cognized subject. But I want to get away from academical terms into the speech of human beings. So let us take the illustration of a broom and its handle. The two together make a broom. That is one sort of relation. But take the same stick and put a rake iron at the end of it, and you have an altogether different implement. The stick remains the same, but the difference of what is put at the end of it makes the whole thing a broom or a rake. Now the thinking and feeling power is the stick, and the conception which it forms is the thing at the end of the stick, so that the quality of its consciousness will be determined by the idea which it projects. But to be conscious at all, it must project ideas of some sort. And that's where we'll stop for now. I'm sorry I stumbled and fumbled so much. A lot of big words in this, and I don't feel like doing it over. So we'll take what we get, and I'll find out more about what he was saying when I listen to it. All right? Make it a great day, and bye for now.